According to the CDC and the National Institute of Mental Health, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States, and 4th leading cause of death of individuals between 35 and 54, and the 2nd leading cause of death among individuals between 10 to 34. Since 2001, suicide rates in the United States have increased drastically. 4.3% of adults ages 18 and older have thought about suicide. Hey, my name is Paul, also known as PD. I wanted to make a mental health video and the importance of it. A lot of people are struggling with mental issues. A lot of people are dealing with depression. Give you a background. I dealt with depression over 10 years. I want to help inspire and motivate those. Depression is a hard topic to talk on. A lot of people don't want to speak on it. Depression alone makes you want to distance yourself. It was moments of just complete isolation, moments of not wanting to do anything. Life in general throws so many things at you that sometimes you just can't take it anymore. I know I've seen people around me that dealt with it, and I wanted to try to give back and try to inspire more people. At a certain point, that pain that you have inside, you have to let it go. The way to resolve it is to get to the core of it, to express how you feel and let it be known, and let someone know how you feel deep inside. A lot of people that I have talk on this video either personally told me they dealt with it, are going through it, but many people, I wanted them to give their aspect and share their stories, so we can also help motivate people.
What's up, YouTube? I'm your boy, King Kelly III, alright? Also known as Jordan Kelly. That's my name. That is me. That's who I am. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Houston, Texas, alright? And I'm currently living out here in Tampa, you know. Back then in high school, I didn't have the best time, the best experience, just because I had a lot of friends that made fun of me. And I felt like they weren't my real friends. I lost a lot of friends in that process. You know, getting bullied and you know, tortured. Not really tortured, but just really like talked about, made fun of, like got beat up maybe a couple times here and there. You know, I only had a couple friends that actually was just, they're really there for me. You know, that's when my depression kicked in. Like, depression is just something you don't even want to joke about, because you don't know what that person is going through in their everyday lives and stuff like that. And it makes you think of other bad stuff that you really wouldn't want to do to yourself, like suicide. Suicide is just honestly not the way to go. I highly encourage anybody who's feeling depressed and feel like they want to kill themselves to just go out there and get the help that they need. No one deserves to kill themselves at the end of the day, because you're not only affecting your life, but you're affecting your loved ones, your friends, your family, you know, those who care about you. You know, I'm actually a victim of suicide. I remember back in like middle school, all throughout high school, I was at that verge where I felt like I really wanted to kill myself. You know, end it all just because of how people was really treating me. And I thought to myself, why nice people like me get treated like shit? And still to this day, it's still a problem. But, you know, my depression is getting lowered down, you know, and I'm not thinking about suicide no more, because I actually, back then when I was a kid, I got the help that I needed. And when my parents found out that I was thinking about suicide, it really tore them up and just made them honestly like sit down and listen to me and talk to me and understand like what I was really going through at school. Not just at school, but at home and too as well. You know, at the end of the day, we're all humans and we deserve better. We deserve to be treated like the way we want to be treated. So it's easier and it's the best thing to do is to spread positivity and kindness to everybody that you're around. No matter if they hate you or they just don't like you or they don't want to be around you, you still need to show people love. And I promise you, some way, shape, or form, God is going to show you love right back. So I highly encourage anybody who's going through depression, who's feeling lonely, who's feeling like people don't care about them, who's thinking about suicide, I highly suggest you get help. Call a hotline, call a friend, call a family member or something, someone that cares about you genuinely, and just get the help that you need. Sit down and talk to them. Vent if you have to. Let them know everything that's going on. And I promise you, some way, shape, or form, they're going to help you. And not only those people are going to help you, but God is going to see you and point you to the light and get you out of that darkness. Because depression is what leads to suicide. And suicide is not the place you want to be, especially when you got that in your mind. So I highly encourage anybody who's going through that right now just to get some help. Please, please do that.
My name is Virtue McKnight. I want to talk to you guys. It's crazy. Life is funny. Life is really funny. Sometimes you can put shoes on and they fit, but yet in this world, they don't fit in the eyes of those that see you. A lot of times, our hands mean well, Our hands, we mean well. And some things we touch because of things that we've done in our past, everything we touch now in some people's eyes is deadly. And I want to encourage you this morning. I want to encourage you to walk in your truth. Regardless of what has happened in the past, I encourage you right now at this very moment, to walk in your truth. And well, granted, it's not easy walking in your truth. It's not. Sometimes we can give it our best, and sometimes we come up short. And that can be very discouraging when you mean well. But I encourage you to push. I encourage you to push past what you feel. Push past what's on the surface. A lot of time our emotions can get the best of us and cloud our judgment. There was once a time when I was younger. I was so excited about this kite my dad had got me. So excited about this kite. I was like, Dad, Pop, Dad, come outside. Can I fly my kite? Can I fly my kite? Yes, son, yes. I know he was tired, but anyway. So here I am excited, I would fly my kite. My kite would go so high up in the sky. And I was so caught off guard and just amazed at how this kite flew. And I wanted so badly to fly like this kite. I remember I set my kite down, I put a rock on it, and I began to jump. And of course I'd fall down. I kept jumping, I would get upset. I fell down some more times. I jumped again. This time I scraped my knee when I came down. Now, as you can imagine, I was pretty upset. I was. Some tears began to come down my eyes. It's like, right? Some tears began to come down my eyes. As I sat there and I cried, I began to get really frustrated and began to feel like it was impossible to fly like my kite. Not during this entire time, my kite was still flying. I kid you not, my kite was still flying. My father had been watching me the entire time. And finally I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, and he said, yes, son. And before I could say anything, he said, son, why are you crying? I said, Dad, I'm crying because I want to fly like that kite, my kite. I want to be at peace like that kite. And everything that I'm trying, everything that I'm doing, it's not good enough. That's what I told my dad, true story, that's what I told my dad. My dad smiled, he looked at me. He said, son, you can fly exactly where you are right now. Right where you're standing right now at this very moment. Where you stand at this very moment, you can fly. You can fly. I sat there and I looked back at that kite, and something amazing happened. I said, Dad, well, every time I jump up, it's like something's bringing me back down. He said, son, that's called gravity. That's the reality of it. We can keep pushing, we can keep fighting, but there's always something that's gonna try to weigh us down in life. But just because that happens doesn't mean that you stop believing that you can fly. Just because that happens doesn't mean that you just stop and give up. And I never forget that. I never forget that moment of trying my hardest and falling out, even getting cut and scraped. I didn't give up. Even when I was crying, my dad had talked to me. I had stood up and I didn't even realize that I had stood up. That's the craziest thing about it. I was just stuck in my emotions and then I didn't even realize that I was still standing. I was still standing. Many times that we go through the fire and we realize it's not as easy as we thought. It's not as easy because we get a little bruised, a little beat up. Like I did with my kite when I scraped my knee. Or when the sweat started dripping down my forehead because it was a little hot outside. The environment didn't make it easy. When people were watching me, knowing my dad was watching me, it didn't make it easy. I hate feeling like I'm disappointing someone. Come to find out I didn't disappoint him at all, but in my own head, which is that's where I was at, in my own head, I really believe that I had failed myself because I couldn't do this, and I expected to do it off the first jump for whatever reason. I just expected it to be that easy, but it wasn't. I encourage you to walk in your truth. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on you. And keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. No matter what happens, I want you to know this. You're not a mistake. You're not. You're not here by coincidence. Nothing is just coincidence. You have to see it that way. Or get to a point where you understand that there's something deeper than what you can see.
Hey guys, what's going on? Rachel Kayleen here, and I want to hop on just to share a little bit of my personal hardships that I've gone through that have really helped me along my life journey. And when I was thinking of different things that I've gone through, I thought a little bit about what's been happening recently or maybe in my past couple of years in business. But then I was like, no, I need to go deeper for the audience. I need to go deeper to share as much value as I possibly can, because there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about the problems right now, and they're only focused on how they can solve these problems right now, and just keep moving forward. Well, you'll notice, especially when you go to events or when you hear from top experts and leaders in the world, they always tell you to go back to your childhood. Go back to when you were a kid and what you went through back then and the issues that you had as a child. That will help you heal as an adult, and it'll help you move forward in your life as you continue to go through the years of business and relationships and work, whatever it may be. So when you go back to those moments, it forces you to ask the hard questions and to think about the things that could be holding you back right now and what you have to do in order to fix them. So for example, when I was a freshman in high school, that was probably my worst year yet, and I'm glad that I got it over with early, because if I would have gotten into that type of trouble in my adult years, I'd probably be in jail, okay? That's how bad it was. I was constantly getting in fights at school. I was flunking in all my classes. I had a horrible home life. I was getting kicked out and even running away a few times, stealing, getting suspended. It was horrible, guys. And what it forced me to do was to grow up and realize that if I stay on the same path, it's not going to get me any closer to what I really wanted in the long term, which I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I did. Deep down in my core, I knew I wanted to be successful. But the road that I was on, I knew it wouldn't allow me to get there. So I had to make a change. But I didn't even start to confront the issues that I had gone through my freshman year until a couple years after. And once I actually began to confront my home life, the anger that was inside of me, all the different issues and the lack of communication, that's when I began to see a change not only in myself, but in my environment around me. So for those of you out there that are dealing with things in your life and you don't know how you're going to solve them, these are the moments where you're going to have to go back to when you were younger, to when you had all those problems arise that you swept under the rug, that you never thought you'd have to confront or deal with again. Here is your time to look in the mirror and to know that the only way to move forward in your life right now is to be able to deal with the things that happened in the past. That's when I promise you, you'll begin to see a change not only in yourself, but in your environment around you, just like I did. So I hope that you guys get some value from this and take action to be able to change your life for the better.
So for whatever reason, Paul feels like I would be great for this video. So this is like take a million of me recording. I've recorded and re-recorded this video a million times. And this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And that's like open up about things that I deal with mentally. A part of me didn't want to record this because I don't really feel like I can really help anybody or be a motivation to anybody when I can't even help and motivate myself. I still deal with depression every day. I mean, it's gotten a lot better than what it was 4 years ago. I got really bad postpartum after I had my daughter. I probably should have started off with that. And it just kind of spilled over into every aspect of my life. And it never really went away. And I don't think it ever really does go away. I think what changes is how you deal with it and how you handle it. Because 4 years ago, I used to have thoughts about hurting myself. And I used to feel like I just wanted to die. I felt like my life was that bad. And the pain that I was going through in life was that bad that I just wanted to die. How I dealt with that was holding on to hope that my life would get better. I hate crying. And I know there's a lot of people in the world that are like, oh my God, life isn't that bad. What could be so hard about your life that would even make you, want to kill yourself? There are people out there that have it way worse than you. When you really think about it, your life really isn't that bad. And for me, it was a mix about. For me, it was a mix of the struggles that I was going through, but it was mainly the feeling of being alone and the feeling of not being able to make it by myself. The feeling and the thoughts of being a horrible mother and not being able to raise my child alone, not having any help, not really having any money, just all of that combined, along with my own insecurities and self-doubts, is what contributed to how I felt. And I'm not going to try and pretend like I'm some super inspirational person with this super deep advice, because I don't have any super deep advice. Only thing that I can say is that it does get better. And I'm sorry for my sniffling, but it does get better if you choose to handle it differently. It's all about how you handle it, and it's all about your mindset. Like, I have hope that things will get better. So instead of being sad about things, I make a choice to find happiness at my lowest moments.
Paul asked me to speak on mental health. I'm not really going to sit here and, try to talk your ear off and, really kind of explain what mental health is. We all kind of get a good understanding of what mental health is and what it should be. I'm here to talk about, kind of seeing the signs of mental health and kind of just taking a step back, evaluating your own mental health and so you can see it in other people. Because some people ask for help in silence, ask for help in being cheery. Sometimes you just need to ask someone, are you okay? Are you depressed? do you want to talk? I mean, especially being a black man, like, I've had a lot of people vent to me about all kinds of things. I mean, I've had friends vent to me who I thought had it all together, who I thought were just on top of the world, and really they were one of the lowest points of their lives. Mental health is defined as one's psychological and emotional well-being. It's really important to understand that because this is something you really can't see sometimes. You really can't see a person's emotions when they're hiding their psychological well-being. Because no matter how strong you are physically, how big you are, whatever attributes you have physically, emotional well-being knows no bounds. It can actually affect all of us, especially in the African American community, where for years it's been kind of brushed to the side. Someone says they're depressed, oh, just cheer up, take a nap, go for a jog, go play with your dog. And I think it's actually more important than that. I think it's to the point where mental health should be as important as if we saw somebody with a gunshot wound, someone that's bleeding out, someone that's crying and begging for help immediately. It's highly important that we notice the signs. Sometimes individuals that'll smile, they're hurting on the inside. An individual that never want to come out and be social. It's okay to be an introvert, but there's a thin line between being an introvert and being depressed or in need of a shoulder to cry on, an ear to talk to. But I'm basically here to say that if you have a friend, somebody makes a status or you just seem a little off, talk to them. You might just save that person's life. You might just be the person that actually gives them a new lease on life, that actually shows them everything's going to be okay. They might not have a therapist. Maybe you're put here on this earth to be someone's therapist, to be that person that is an outlet. Even if you're fighting your own demons, maybe you can share some things with them. But just notice the signs. Notice the signs. Just be yourself. Don't judge. Be the person that that spark, that catalyst, that actually shows that mental health is important. Put everybody in their best space. I mean, people can have all the money, the fame, the glory, and be in the most need of help. I mean, that's life. Now, that's really life. Everyone has had anxiety, has been depressed. The difference is some of us made it out. Some of us didn't. Some of us, tried suicide attempts. I haven't personally, but I know people who did because they felt like they couldn't speak to no one. They felt like life was just unfair to them. They felt like, what's the point? Why keep fighting if no one's going to fight for you? This is why mental health is important. We're here to fight for everyone. We're here to give everybody a fighting chance to live, to grow, to experience the good in life. There are ways to battle mental health for the good. Ways that you can improve it personally. You can do meditation. You could exercise. I'm not really an advocate on turning to substances to cure mental health because they're just kind of like a band-aid that keeps getting ripped off temporarily. Some people like to drink alcohol. Once the buzz wears off, the mental health issues come back. People like to do drugs. Once the high wears down, you're right back at step one. These type of things are things that we need to avoid, and we need to push the narrative of, giving a helping hand, giving someone a fighting chance, giving them an ear, giving them a shoulder to cry on. Because if we don't, it's just a vicious cycle that keeps coming back to haunt us, our children, their children, especially in the Black community. Break the cycle. Be the cure for mental health.
My name is Quintisha. I'm 20 years old and I suffer from depression. To me, depression is a burden. There have been many days more than I care to reminisce on, that I could not get out of bed. Before I became a mother, it was a lot easier, I guess you can say, to be eaten away by depression. It was a lot easier to skip showers, skip meals, stay in bed all day, skip school, whatever. Like, I didn't have many responsibilities, I guess. So it was easy to allow this illness to overcome me. After becoming a mother, when you have someone else relying on you to get up, make food, bathe them, get them outside, whatever, it's a lot harder, especially when it's just you by yourself, when you're the only person doing it. It's a lot harder to just be like, I don't feel like getting up today. So then that's when I believe, for me, I became more of a high-functioning, depressed person. Because even though I didn't feel like getting out of bed, I still did, and I still, played with my daughter, smiled and laughed, and acted as if everything was okay. And then at nighttime, I'm left laying there, unable to sleep, just so sad. And that darkness, that loneliness can just make you feel like, okay, I'd rather be dead than have to deal with what I'm feeling. And if I wasn't feeling like that, I was feeling nothing. I was just numb. I was just going through the motion. Those intense feelings of nothingness or numbness, I would say for me, were a lot worse than the sadness. Because when you don't feel anything, you just don't even feel human. And it left me thinking, like, am I dead? Like, did I die? It gave me a lot of questions of what my purpose was. Why me, kind of. And eventually, instead of having a pity party and feeling like there was nothing I could do, I decided to go tell someone how I was feeling. I reached out to a counselor, and he pretty much told me, our very first session, he pretty much told me that it was normal. And I'm just kind of sitting there like, this can't be normal. There's no way this is normal. And I ended up not going back to see him again. I just decided that no one, and this is not to say not to reach out and not to get counseling, but in my personal experience, I decided that no one could make me get better, that I had to end the work. I had to decide that I was going to be better. And once I made that conscious decision that this was not okay, this was not normal, I was able to come up with better ways to break out of that depression, to not be just sad, but to be alive, to feel everything. Even if it's sadness, I needed to feel everything. And while I was going through the darkest depression I've ever experienced, I ended up messing up in school. I should be a senior in college right now, but instead I am repeating another junior semester. And that alone was enough to make me feel even more depressed, because I'm like, even once I get it together, I already messed it up for tomorrow me. But tomorrow me decided that that's okay, that it takes time, things take time, wounds take time to heal, And if I need time, then I have to take that. I have the ability and I have the right to take my time. So I started to feel hopeful, and I started to remove people from my life that made me feel like it was okay to just be sad. People that were sad too, and they weren't doing anything else to get better. I just started to remove them, and I started to remove people that relied on me to make them feel better. And the more people that I just started removing, I would add another person that I would meet, and they would be this inspirational person to me, and it would build into this beautiful relationship. And now I'm surrounded by so much love, just so much unconditional love. And instead of wallowing in self-pity and isolating myself, I'm able to turn to the people in my life and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling and I need to talk about it. And we talk about it, and they say, well, what are you gonna do? And every day I have to decide what I'm gonna do to stay healthy, because depression is not healthy at all. I still have days where I get into a dark place and I feel like giving up. And on those dark days, I am now able to remember how bad it was, and I'm able to remember how good it has been. And it helps so much. It helps so much to have people that remind you why you're alive. And now I know that I am more than my disease. I am more than sadness.
Hi, my name is Desiree. I am a sociology major at UF, and I'm currently studying stress management. Coincidentally enough, when PD suggested me doing this video, I was pretty excited because I've always struggled with anxiety, so I'm happy to help people with their mental health. So first off, and something I didn't really know that people taught about stress management is spirituality. And this doesn't have to be going to church. This doesn't have to be reading scripture. This can be as simple as speaking to the world. For me, it's prayer to God. But just saying positive affirmations, speaking about what you want to happen, and speaking about positive things that have happened. This is so great for your mental health. I recommend this book. It's called The 5-Minute Journal, and every morning it asks you to write 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things that would make today great, and 2 daily affirmations about yourself. And then at the end of the day, it asks you 3 amazing things that happened today and how I could have made today even better. So little books, mindfulness, meditation, maybe yoga, anything that fosters your spirituality or your inner self or your inner soul, whatever you want to call it, is so crucial to your mental health. And then piggybacking off the mindfulness I spoke about then, mindfulness in daily life is really important too. So being in the moment can spare you a lot of stress. I just recently learned that memory loss is associated with anxiety and depression, and I always wondered why I was so forgetful. I was like, is this early onset Alzheimer's? What is this? And it's really a result of not being present in your everyday situations, because when you're daydreaming or thinking about tomorrow or your homework, you're not fully taking in your surroundings, you're not fully enjoying them, and you're not fully retaining them. So, mindfulness is very important. This is something that can even help you during panic attacks. I suffer from panic attacks, and I have to remind myself during those times to focus on objects in the room sometimes, focus on the TV show, focus on what my friends are saying, and it can actually pull me out of having an anxiety attack just by practicing mindfulness. Also, physical health is a huge one. If you're not putting the right things into your body, not taking care of your physical body enough, it affects your mind a lot. So this doesn't have to mean like eating everything organic or, shopping at Whole Foods. It doesn't have to be that, because that's expensive. I recommend Trader Joe's, but, each to his own. But You could even have a smoothie a day, because getting the proper minerals and vitamins you need really helps with your mind. A lot of people can worsen their depression by not getting the proper minerals they need. And then physical health. And this doesn't have to be going to the gym all the time. This doesn't have to be, finding a sport you like, but just spending a little time improving your physical health really helps your mental health. So, you could just do a few ab exercises while you're watching TV. Go shoot around with a friend after work. Or, going to the gym is beneficial, but go on a walk. I mean, I'm a nanny, so sometimes I'll do yoga with the little one I watch, or just go on a walk with him in the morning if I know that I'm not going to be able to go to the gym that day. There are ways to improve your physical health just in daily life. And then thirdly is having a support group. And if you don't have positive people in your life, you're going to think negatively. You're going to be discouraged, and you're not going to get that push. I should take that back. You may get a push from other things. Some people are just like that. But for me personally, I need support. I need my friends. I need my loved ones, especially when I'm anxious or stressed. I need them. They bring me out of it. So I just recommend getting a support group, and just having people that you can really speak to and really spend time with and have fun and not worry about what they're going to think about you, and know that they'll back you with anything you choose to do. And sometimes you have to separate yourself from family even, or loved ones that are toxic to you, so you can find those people that foster a healthy mind for you. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm 27 years old, and I too battle with anxiety and depression. I feel like sometimes everybody has it inside of them, and sometimes it comes out for most people. For me, I noticed that I was going through depression when I was about 21, 22, during college days. You're trying to figure out who you are, you're growing, you're learning, and you're dealing with heartbreak, and we don't necessarily know how to deal and cope with certain things. And my depression then took me into a world where I wasn't eating, I was starving myself, I was throwing up every emotion that I got, and I just withdrew myself from a lot of people. Somehow, some way, I overcame that. It took like a couple of months. Not that you have a time, but for me, it took a couple of months. But for me, right now, the worst that I've had is anxiety. It happened after I gave birth. It seems like as soon as I pushed out, I just lost all my feelings, emotion, and all that. But at the same time, I was very sad. But I noticed that change, right after that. Like, I went from being happy, Jamie, excited, and always looking on the bright side, to someone that just didn't know how she really felt about a lot of things. And it's very hard to cope. And I was still normal until one day it kind of just clicked in my head that I wasn't okay. I started to have crazy thoughts. I started to just experience things, think things that I shouldn't have. And it was really bothering me to the point that I really needed to seek help. And so I didn't seek professional help, but I did let my mom know. Even though it's just, you don't want to disappoint them or like scare them, but I had to let her know that I wasn't okay. And I did let my friends know that I wasn't okay. If I had to cut anyone off, I did, because I wasn't okay. I could not handle anyone's negativity, vibes. I couldn't handle anything. I had to fix me and work on myself because I did not like the way that I was thinking. And having a daughter, I just had to be the better me for her. I had to make sure I was okay so I can raise my daughter in a good place. I can say it got to the point where I just didn't want to be in public, but I have a job where I have to be in public and I have to deal with people, so I needed to, get myself together. But I would go to the grocery store and I couldn't be in there too long. I would just freak out and panic and just couldn't breathe, couldn't see. I just had to get out. And sometimes you just need to get out. Just get out, run outside, do whatever you need to do to catch your breath, to get yourself together, because, anxiety attack can be really hard to deal with, and it can be hard to keep yourself calm because your mind is just triggering you to be on defense and protect yourself. And it's like protecting yourself from what? Nothing's happening. And I had to realize that nothing's happening. As I, was seeking help, I Googled, I did everything. What did I do? I Googled, I took meds, CBD oil, that really helps, and just started to learn like breathing mechanism and techniques and all that stuff to help me out, and it did. I can say I am better. I'm a little bit better. I'm striving to be better each and every day because it's something that I want to take control of. I do not want it to control me, because I was at a point that it was controlling me in every thought that I had. And I guess it was from me having a baby and dealing with postpartum and just dealing with everything that I had to deal with while I was pregnant and afterwards. I didn't have a good time. For me, I felt like I was a failure, and I just wanted to protect my daughter. I didn't want anything to happen to her. So that led to my anxiety and I guess OCD as well. Even though I already had that, but it just triggered it to be even worse. But for me, and to you, or whoever else is going through this, I say reach out and ask for help. You don't have to ask for professional help, but just anyone. You never know what someone is going through, and they can help you. They might have experience in that department. But reach out, let someone know that you are not okay. That's the first step. Let someone know that you need help and you're not in a right place mentally. And you just have to get over that embarrassing moment and just feeling like, oh my God, someone's going to judge me, and just let them know, because you don't want it to get worse. You want to get out and take whatever method that you can that helps you cope and to help you get better. That's what I did. Each day it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. You're going to have, them horrible thoughts, but let someone know that you need help. Whether you have to talk to a friend, family, a stranger on social media, I don't care. Just let someone know that you need help. And I guarantee you would get a little bit better. Day by day, it would get better. And tell that thing in your head that, you're dumb. I'm not going to do that. I'm not listening to you. It's not going to help me. Tell that in your head. Make it feel stupid so that you can also move forward and to overcome all of those thoughts. Make it feel completely stupid and a waste of time. And that's what I did, and it does help. It does help to talk to whatever that's telling you to do or think, certain things. You just have to talk to yourself, talk positive, talk good things. And I promise you, things will get a little bit better. You may not see the outcome, but after a few days, few weeks, things will get better. It does. So yeah, reach out. Do whatever you need to do to talk to anyone to make yourself feel better, because it can be terrible, terrible days. And it's okay to admit that you need help.
Hey guys, my name's Kayla and I am 22 years old. I studied mental health psychology for 3 years, and I've also struggled with anxiety personally myself for my entire life. Something new, a new discovery that I found with part of my anxiety is having panic attacks. Some things that really helped me in those moments would be focusing on my breathing, letting myself calm down, because when you're having a panic attack, you're going hyperventilating, you're sweating. And for me, it also comes with rambling. So focusing on my breathing, that also helps me focus on my tone of voice, which is something that really helps me with the rambling, is focusing on what I'm saying, making clear, concise sentences. It's great. And then I also use CBD oil. CBD oil is something really, really, truly great for anxiety. If you've never used it, you are missing out. I'm telling you, it's helped me so much. Just keeping calm throughout the day and keeping my anxiety low. It's been really great. I even recommended it to a friend, and she's been using it, and she's having the same results. It's really been helping her too, and it's really amazing. If you struggle with anxiety, you know what it feels like. You struggle daily, so getting something that helps find that relief for you is truly important. Another thing for me that helps relieve my anxiety is being active. When you have anxiety, it's really easy to want to stay in bed all day. It's really easy to get that sort of like depression, taking over your mind, fogging your mind. It's really easy to fall into that pattern. So something that's really helped me is staying active, going to the gym, playing basketball with my girls. Like, these are things that help me
keep a clear mind and help me stay not anxiety free, but at least to a level that I can maintain. Another thing that comes along with my anxiety is obsessive thoughts. So when I'm having obsessive thoughts, I find that it's really nice for me to have a support group. It's really nice to have friends that understand, somebody who's willing to listen to me, because if I'm not able to talk about it, I'm gonna be in here about it, and then I'm never gonna, it's endless, and it's stressful, and it's exhausting. Honestly, anxiety is something that I could talk a really long time about. I have so many personal stories for me, so many things that I've been through. If you guys are ever struggling or you ever need somebody and you don't feel like you have that support at home, you can always reach out. I would love to help you find ways to cope with your anxiety, because it's never gonna go away. It's not something that just disappears. It's something that you learn to live with, and you can live a happy life.
Why not talk about mental health today, right? I mean, I figured, I've had my mental health issues with depression and things like that, so why not let's talk about it, you know what I mean? The thing I want to talk to you guys about in regards to that depression is, why not change it? What can we do to change it? What can we feel inside to change it? Well, the first thing I got to tell you is, just getting up and going to do something is not going to make you feel any better about your depression if you are not changing your perception on your life. I'm going to tell you that right now, because it took me 2 years to get where I'm at, to talk to you guys today in regards to depression. I mean, I can't even believe I'm doing this video, because I was so depressed at one point. I didn't want to do anything. My friends telling me to get up, come somewhere. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to do none of that. And then it got so sketchy to the point where I started isolating myself. And that's something that's very scary. I'm not saying that you should go around, that's why I mentioned the people who always do socialite things. You could be a socialite and do all of that, but if you're depressed, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna start spending money like crazy. You are going to be around people having negative energy of your own like crazy. Why? Because your perception of your situation has not changed yet. How did I change my perception? Well, that was hard as heck. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's not easy at all, but it's something that you're going to feel so much better about once you actually do it. What do I mean by that? I had to change how I looked at myself. A lot of the depression that I realized people go through, it first starts with self-love. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you have low self-esteem and no self-love, it is really easy when you get into your depression to slip into suicidal thoughts. Seriously, I slipped into it multiple times throughout the last 2 years. I've thought negative thoughts to myself like, why does it even matter? Does my family even care about me? Does my people around me care? You're probably thinking, does coworkers or anybody care? Does anybody notice that I am depressed? A lot of times you don't even realize that you're wondering and hoping that somebody might realize that you're going through your depression, and a lot of times they don't. And a lot of times they're probably going through their own depression, so they can't even see what you have going on. This is what I meant when I said distractions, you guys. So when you start to take some of those distractions and sit them aside and actually evaluate what's making you feel depressed, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be self-esteem, lack of confidence, and lack of self-love. And me personally, I'm a spiritual person, so lack of belief in God for myself personally. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I refuse to allow this depression to keep me down. I'm not fit to allow this depression to keep me in the house. I'm not gonna allow it to stop me from working. I'm not gonna allow it to stop me from doing what I need to do. And it's not your fault. Don't feel bad, don't feel guilty, just we have to do something about it. So what do? Well, that's a good question. What do you do? What do you feel like you need to do for yourself? I'm gonna tell you a little about what I did. Maybe that could help you. One of the things that I did was I started going to counseling. Right, most people don't want to go to counseling because most people feel like, why talk about it? Why wouldn't you want to talk about it when you know you need help? Right, you don't want to go to the crazy ward, you don't want to go to the mental box because you're saying I'm having suicidal thoughts, right? But how worse do those suicidal thoughts get when you keep holding and bottling it up and you never get to talk about it? Step 2, what did I do? Well, some people have their kids, some people have something. I got an emotional support dog. That was just my thing that I did. Not everybody can do well with animals, not everybody does great with that, but that's what I did to help myself. Learn how to express yourself without allowing your emotions to override what you want to say to people. Why? Because that's a part of your depression. A part of your depression is to discommunicate you from society and from everyone else who is also living day-to-day life. Tip number 4, I would definitely say exercise, walking around, get up. Don't let this depression keep you asleep. That's one of the ways if you lay down, you'll stay down. I'm telling you that right now. You lay down, you'll stay down. Promise you, you will stay down. Get up, be creative, do something that will fulfill yourself. In order to get out of your depression, you must fulfill yourself as to who you are. One of the reasons you might be depressed is because you probably don't know who the heck you are. Seriously. That's one of the reasons why I was getting depressed, because I'm thinking I knew who I was. Next thing I know, I get injured. Who the heck am I now? I'm not this basketball player. I'm not none of this stuff anymore. So who am I? Right? Makes sense. Getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it, but I definitely talked to my family about it. I actually wrote a letter to my family, talking to them about it, about the suicidal thoughts that I've been having, the depression I've been having, the things that I talked to my counselor about. It will scare you to talk to family and friends because you will be nervous about their reaction, but I need to tell you guys, stop worrying about everybody else's reaction. That's one of the reasons why you're depressed. You're too worried about everybody else's perception of you instead of what your perception of you is. You gotta turn this thing completely around, guys. Seriously. I mean, I started reading books on self-help, not just for that, but to better myself as a person. And I feel like a lot of people who are depressed, they really just want to be better people, not just for themselves, but for the world in general. So take steps to making yourself the type of person that you truly want to be. Better yourself. And I swear to you guys, when you get that self-love, I don't mean just love yourself, I mean fall completely back in love with yourself. That is what I'm doing right this moment. I am learning to fall back in love with myself so that I will never allow myself to go through any more depression. It hurts to even talk about this stuff. And I'm sure that a lot of people don't have that support system that they need to help themselves. But one of the things that I learned about this depression thing, sweetheart, it's all about you. It starts with you. Myself personally, what do I need to do? I just started rising my vibrations. That's my last tip to you guys. Rise your vibrations to the level where you got so much love for yourself, you don't feel like you need anybody else. You got so much love for yourself, you could talk to yourself and God all day, whoever you need to talk to, especially yourself, because you got to remember, we're not going to always have those preachers. We're not always going to have those counselors. We're not always going to have our friends and family. We're not always going to have these people who encourage us to come out of our depression or to do better. We're not going to always have that. So I would definitely encourage you guys to encourage yourselves. I mean, it's hard, but you got to get motivated. You got to talk every day to yourself. You got to really feel that.
Just want to say thank you for the opportunity, man. Thank you for seeing something in me. To even reach out to me like that, man. That means more than you know. Literally, it's like God sent. It's letting me know that I'm on the right track and that there is something that I do have a voice. Not saying that I don't, I know I do, but there's somebody else knows that I have a voice, I have a story to tell. I've been through some pain myself, and I know what it's like. I know what it's like even feeling as if you don't have a voice. And I'm glad that I have an outlet. We have an outlet and a way to change that for others.